Hello, Mr. Smith. Happy Halloween. Thanks for your inquiry about some additional information regarding the journal. I thought the easiest way to tell you a little bit more about it would be to send you a quick video. The journal is called, Live Your Best Life Journal for Teens, and it's a 5-minute journal. The journal actually starts with a mood tracker every day. So at the very beginning of the book, it has a key to go along with the mood tracker. And so they actually just pick the symbol that best represents what kind of day they're having and tell why they are having that particular kind of day. It's followed by an affirmation. The affirmation, let's look at one here. Let's see. I am ready to try something new. So that's one of the affirmations in the book. Along with the affirmation goes the quote of the day. And the quote of the day goes like this. It says, life is about taking chances, trying new things, having fun, making mistakes, and learning from it. And then there's a writing prompt that goes along with the affirmation and the quote of the day. And the writing prompt for this particular day says, what have you been dying to try and what's stopping you? So each day starts with the mood tracker, has the affirmation. Then the kids tell some just expressions of gratitude. So what are they thankful for that day? And then it's followed by 3 ways I practice self-care today. So what did I do to take care of myself? I ate a healthy breakfast. I got a good night's sleep. I asked for help. I complimented someone. What did they do that particular day to take care of themselves? And there's any range of things. Also, at the beginning of the book, it talks about ways that you can take care of yourself. And it talks about it from the different domains. So the physical domain, which is things like eating healthy, exercising, getting adequate sleep, staying hydrated. Also talks about social self-care, cuddling with a pet, forming collaborative relationships, learning to say no, seeking challenges. So it gives them actual examples of different types of self-care in the different domains. And then it also has, at the end of every day, it has daily reflection box. And in that box, the kids can actually doodle, they can do word art, they can draw a picture, they can just write additional things, or they can do nothing. It's their choice, but it's a visual representation of their day. So a little bit about my background. I talked some about it in the initial inquiry that I sent to you. And so I'm a former special education teacher, 20-year school guidance counselor, and then now a clinical mental health specialist where I have a private practice here in Savannah where I primarily work with adolescents and teens. I'm a big proponent of journaling because I've really seen it work. When I was a special education teacher, I worked with students right before I opened the practice, students coming directly from residential. Every day we started the day with their journal, no matter what grade level they were, from kindergarten all the way through 6th grade at the time. That's who I was working with. They would journal every single day. That's the first thing they did. They didn't have to ask what they had to do when they walked in class. They automatically knew. They pulled their journal out of their desk, and then either myself or the aide would just do a spot check. Oftentimes that was a great insight into what was going on in the kids' lives, and it gave us an opportunity to just get some of that stuff out of the way to prepare them for learning. If they were hungry, if they didn't get a good night's sleep, if there were things going on at home, we could already go ahead and address it. Sometimes they just wanted to write about it and didn't necessarily want to talk about it. We'd ask, you want to talk about this? Sometimes they would say no, and that was okay because sometimes they were still processing it, but at least they knew someone cared and they had an opportunity to get it out. I had kids that didn't want to write at all. When they first started, it was pulling teeth. Some of them couldn't write. Some of them just didn't want to, but getting a sentence or two out of them, by the time they left, were writing pages. You didn't have to actually ask them. One of my students, who I call is my star banner autistic kid that was on the spectrum, who came to me as a second grader directly out of residential, super bright. Couldn't get him to write. He hated writing. By the time he left, he was writing pages in his journal. I actually kept samples of his journal. And he actually had the highest academic average in the school on across the board for our standardized testing by the time he was in fourth grade. Just a banner kid. So, like I said, I can see that there's so many benefits of journaling. Even in the practice, one of the first things that I have, whether it's a kid or an adult that I work with, every single time they come into the office, is to tell me how you're feeling. Because if we can start connecting our thoughts and our feelings and our actions and seeing how they're all interconnected, it's also a great way to build just emotional vocabulary. If you can get kids and adults to identify the emotion. For my kids who deal with anxiety and depression, it's a great way for them to get in front of those feelings. So if you find, I tell them if they find that they are on the uncomfortable side of that feeling wheel for several days at a time, they need to do a competing feeling. Don't wait until you're weeks or months into this and you're trying to dig your way out of a hole. There's been plenty of times where I've had to contact DFACs or contact parents because kids were sleeping in class, not because they were lazy, not because they didn't want to do the work, because they were exhausted and they weren't sleeping and they were depressed and they were out of medication. I knew that because I was checking their journal, and I can see that now this is the third week or second week. Every day you're tired. Why are you tired? Are you not getting enough sleep? So just having some of those discussions with kids, I think journaling is just a great outlet. Like I said, building those writing skills, helping with emotional regulation, helping to build their emotional literacy. There's just so many benefits that I see in the clinical practice as well as when I was in schools. So I hope this tells you a little bit more about the journal. I would love to know what you guys are considering or possible ways that you can use the journal in your setting. And I'm here to support. I would love to collaborate, come and talk to the kids, talk to the staff. Oh, there's also, I didn't talk about this book because I'm really pushing the journal, but one of the other things that's really great with the kids is coping strategies. So Dr. Gwen's A to Z Self-Care Guide for Teens actually has a coping strategy for every letter of the alphabet. And I'm going to go to H just because this one is so relevant for me right now. I had a kid in the office just a couple of weeks, a teenager that I've been working with for the past few months, and he's worked through the book. The letter that he said resonated with him the most was H, which is hug someone. It says, sometimes you just need a hug, no words, no advice, just a hug to make you feel better. And he said out of this whole book, that was the letter that resonated with him the most. Now, do you think he's going to ask his parents for a hug? He's not. Do you think they would think to give him one, that that's something that he needs or wants? No. So guess what? That need is probably going to go unfulfilled, even though we encourage, or I encourage him to ask or just reach out for that. He said he's not going to, but it's what he really wants and something that he needs. But the fact that he is aware of that. So like B is brain breaks. There's a lot of quotes in the book and from a lot of people that the kids actually know and look up to. So this is actually a workbook of sorts. The J in the book is actually talks about journaling and all of the different types of journals there are and the benefits of it. So each letter has a coping strategy, and I tell them to not sit and just do the book, but to do one letter a day. And if they do that, they have one coping strategy that'll take them for about a month, and they have something to tie it to. When you get in those stressful situations, you can just think of a letter of the alphabet and know that you have coping strategies when oftentimes they don't think that they do. So, yeah, I'm very passionate about this stuff. Would love to talk to you more about it. Hope that you guys think that the resources are useful. And I'll look forward to hearing back from you and knowing what your thoughts are. Okay? Have a great day.